Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Grev, and welcome to another episode of the Written on Res podcast. I'm joined on this Saturday evening by my co-host Jace. How are you doing on this fine Saturday evening?
Oh, not too bad. Waka, mate. It was an awful game, but I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. As you may have noticed, my camera is in a different thing. My camera's decided not to work, so that's why. And annoyingly, slightly later, wanted to be a live one, but there we go. I had a really good Saturday, unbelievable Saturday. Ended up going to Richmond. Not been to Richmond yet, so I went to the pub where Ted Lasso goes and inhabits. That was cool. And Richmond's really nice. Never been there before. And then I saw a musical in the afternoon. Very cultured, just getting about. It was lovely. What did you do with your Saturday?
I went for a run, watched the Grand Prix qualifying, watched the Arsenal. Almost fell asleep after dinner.
You're not falling asleep in Arsenal games again. You might have in this one. It would have been close.
Mate. Yeah, I'm gonna keep zip. I'm gonna keep zip.
All right, you keep zip.
We won.
All right. We're going to talk about Kai Havertz, of course. We're going to talk about Aaron Ramsdale. We're going to talk about lots of different players, lots of different things. It wasn't a super exciting game, but Arsenal won 1-0 at the GTEC Community Stadium against Brentford. So let's get that music on, and then we'll get straight into it.
Saka. Saka! That is a diamond of a goal! It's Bergkamp. That's magnificent!
This is my club. Fucking love this football club.
Henry. What a goal! Gabriel Martinelli! He's scoring for Arsenal!
Right, we're going to kick off the show. Actually, I was just thinking as that music was playing, it sounds like we're going to be really, really negative. Arsenal FC are top of the Premier League. But we're going to start probably with not some great, I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to go Written on review. It's yours, Jason. The floor is yours. Go on, give it to us.
Well, you think I'm going to moan? Look, the performance was dire. Brentford low block, controlled parts of the game. It was boring. But the other end of it, the positive note is there's results like that are going to win us the league.
That could win us the league.
Are going to win us the league, Grev. Come on. Let's have a little bit more. Come on. We said we need to be
positive mental attitude. Let's do it.
So I think we grinded out a win in a place that's difficult to go, as we know. Brentford can be a bogey team for us at times. Other top sides in the Premier League have struggled there. It's not just us. It's not an Arsenal specific thing. And we grinded out a win against a team that just wanted to play a low block and shut the game down to an extent and get us on the counter. On the other hand, it's a good job they don't make end of season DVDs anymore, because I used to love one when we won the league or won an FA Cup. Always used to buy the video, the VHS or the DVD. I don't want to buy this one. This has just been boring. It's going to be like 1-0 wins and 2-1 wins to scrape the title. But it's fine. We're going to win the league. We're going to win.
We thought that you're showing your age a little bit. VHSs, Jace. You're showing your age. Maybe if you said Betamax, it might have been worse.
I had 1998 VHS end of season review DVD. Do you know what it was called?
Go on.
Double bypass. Because we basically missed out on the double, but we won the double the season before, because and that's why they called it double bypass.
You might have had a bit of a double bypass in that season with the palpitations. Probably not this season.
Yeah, no. It's just, no. I'm not even stressed about it. Let me ask you a question. Were you like, when we were watching that Champions League game, the one when we lost 2-1 at Lens, and we were like, we didn't feel any great frustration.
Water off the ducks back a little bit.
Yeah, that's how I felt today as well. Like, and there's certain games at the moment where I'm not emotionally in it.
No, I get you. But I do think you wouldn't have felt that way if we'd not have won this game. If we'd have drawn or lost this game, I think you would have been angrier that we But anyway, let me move into
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
It's kind of done the same route, I suppose. It's like we're not playing the gun ho swashbuckling football that we played last season, and I agree with you. It is a bit drab at times. We did say on a previous pod, it feels like it's been a while since we discussed this, but you know, if we win the league, why would you give a shit? In reality, I know that you're saying it's probably not as exciting. You're not as invested. We talked about the crowds and all of that kind of stuff as well, that maybe not being as engaged. So there is certainly something there. But it's early. It's early days in this season still. And we're still we're top of the league, Jace. If you would have asked us at this stage of the season, would we be top of the league? You probably wouldn't have said yes, and you would have snapped someone's hand off. So, you got to look at the positives. I agree that the performance necessarily wasn't there, but I would say that the one thing that we are exceptionally good at is starving teams of anything. This year, our defense is incredibly solid. There was a heat map that I saw earlier on in the week that basically showed where teams come out against us, and it's like there's nothing. There's literally nothing. Just teams can't get in against us, and when they do, I mean, we'll talk about a guy later on that let them in a couple of times and got rescued by a defense that saved a lot off the line. But yeah, just a bit. We are where we are, and so you got to be looking at that. How many games are we now? 13 games was that? Yeah, 13 games. Top of the league. Man City, Liverpool. I was like, get a draw, please be a draw. Got a draw. Loved it. I couldn't have asked for anything better, really. So positives, Chase. Positives.
I'm happy. I mean, the game
You don't sound happy. Got to sound.
The game was
happy.
boring as anything, but I'm happy. I just went by the DVD. That's all.
No, don't buy it. Right. We're going to go into the third segment. I think this is all about you. This is all about all-out attack. If you went back a couple of weeks, we actually had Jace, who played a Sunday League game, and he scored 5 goals, and he had a massively, obviously, attacking game. We went all-attack with this game. We played Leo at the left 8. We played the front 3 that probably everyone's been asking for a while. But I suppose maybe it wasn't quite what we expected. Would you agree?
My note was all-out attack. That did fuck all. just no, we had nothing. I where do I start? We had this problem. I say it's a problem, and maybe it's not a problem anymore, but the low block, obviously, anytime a team plays a low block, we know what kind of performance you're going to get from Arsenal. And we know that it's going to be a boring game. You're going to feel quite placid about the performance. It's either going to be just frustrating because you might lose it, or you get a draw. Today we got a win, and I think that that's the one improvement this season, is that we're seeming to get stuff which is quite difficult over the line, because pretty much most teams have cottoned on that they need to play a low block against Arsenal, and so they do. And the teams that do, it's always a hard game. Doesn't matter who it is really in the Premier League, unless it's like a Sheffield United or a Luton or someone lower down the division. Like any mid-table to, any decent mid-table team and above, they play a low block. It's just a really challenging, difficult, boring game, because it's about finding the right pass, the right ball, and you're not going to get many opportunities. You're just working the ball from side to side of the pitch and trying to find that gap, that bit of magic, that one spark. And then when you get that opportunity, you got to be clinical. And to be fair, we did that today, and we'll talk about Havertz in a minute. But yeah, they're doubling up on Martinelli and Saka. So your pace and your creativity, we didn't have hardly anything really. I don't remember where we were counter attacking or really having Saka or Martinelli with a chance to actually run at them one-on-one. So that kind of, when we don't have a game, when we can't play like that, we do. It appears that we struggle, but I don't think we do struggle. I think we just bide our time. I think that's how Arteta's ingrained it in the team.
We left it very late today, and we have done in the past to do that. But I do think Brentford set into that shape where they had basically 5 at the back, like incredibly well every time. And like you say, doubling up on both Martinelli and Saka. I do think again Saka had a quieter game. I do feel a lot more went down the left between Zinni, Martinelli, Declan than it did down the right between Tomiyasu and Saka.
Yeah, definitely did. I think Saka had one chance where I think he almost got one-on-one, but he, rather than going at them, he slows down because he likes to cut in on his left foot. So rather than taking it to them, he slowed down. Second defender caught up, then he was doubled up on. He tried to cut in.
Do you think that's a conscious choice on his part, or something coached into him? Because it certainly feels he's more fearful of one-on-ones, or at least going direct to players this season compared to last.
I think it's a conscious decision if you've got a Ben White overlapping, but there wasn't a Ben White overlapping today, so I don't really know the reasoning behind it. I mean, he likes to play 1-2s with Odegaard, so sometimes he'll cut in, play one, then run, then kind of bolt to the byline and look for the return ball and get in around the back. But today, he just didn't see anything really from Bukayo today. Back off, I didn't watch England. Did he play?
I never watched England. No idea, because who the hell watches England, Jace?
No one. Well, I don't know the result.
I know the result. He's fit, so he's playing, right?
Yeah, so he's come back for internationals. He's probably played known Southgate 90 minutes plus because it's Southgate and he just seems to play the guy all the time. So, yeah.
I mean, we can't exactly pot kettle and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to me about Odegaard and his performance.
Yeah, I mean, Odegaard for me was the game, I suppose, kind of passed him by a little bit, I would say. I wouldn't necessarily think this was Odegaard at his worst and at his best at the same time. Just middling, I suppose. I do feel that he obviously needs to get back to some level of fitness, bearing in mind this is his first game back in like 5, maybe, including Champions League and stuff. So he's been out for a while. Certainly lacks, like you say, when we talk about low blocks, what's needed to get, there's two things that can unlock that for us. It's one of them is Odegaard. That didn't work today. The second one, and we tried this one significantly more, was set pieces, particularly corners. Well, I know we had done it, but we tried a real variety of different approaches to our set pieces during this game, whether it was trying to hit the first man over the top, a short corner. We tried every single one, including trying to frustrate them by taking our time on those corners within the first 15 minutes, which I was really surprised that we didn't get a card. I assumed it was going to come out significantly. Well, it didn't come out at all. I thought it was going to come out really early because we got told off 3 times for it. I thought we were going to, but we tried. That was, I think, Arteta's solution to the low block was the set piece, because it didn't seem like we were trying anything direct through Odegaard, particularly.
I think he's going to take time to come back. He's rusty. I mean, we said he was rusty before he had the spell on the sidelines. We felt something went right. Then it turns out he's got a hip injury. I think he'll just take. Huh?
And he had a concussion as well. He got hit in the face with the ball and was apparently missed 2 games.
Yeah, true. He did. I forgot about that. But yeah, I think it's just he's got to take time to get his groove on. And that kind of game was not the game to do it, in my opinion.
Well, maybe you're right, but that's the kind of, for me, I know Brentford they're a pretty good side at home. And they played quite counter on us, to be honest. Every time they did get in Mbeumo, Visa were getting in on the counter attack, and we kind of did let them in on occasion and got rescued. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's not the game for him. I would say it would looking at another player who was in our attack and coming back from an injury, although played for Brazil, was Jesus. How did you think he fared in his first game back after a while?
I mean, he had a few kind of chances. I think he had 4 shots in the first half. What I thought I saw on the stats that flashed on the screen. He's creating the most chances, but I don't know if he's trying too hard or it just the chances are half chances. For me, he's going to have to shake some rust off as well. But for me, Jesus maybe he doesn't fit the system anymore. I've not seen him run at a defence all year and take it to a team. You remember last year, Palace was a perfect example at the start of the season, where the guy had the ball stuck to his feet and he just used to run at defences, and you'd have Martinelli with the connection on the left-hand side of the pitch, and I just haven't seen that. Now, we know that we've talked about Arteta changing the style of play and being more clinical, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just kind of like, he's not doing that anymore. So then if he's not doing that, what value is he bringing to the team? What kind of game is it where we need to play him? Because that didn't feel like the game. And Eddie didn't feel like the game either. This is where we go, we need Ivan Toney, we need a big striker or whatever. But for me, I've never seen that type of Jesus that runs at a team since the injury. I think Arteta wants to play a different way. And I think we may have, within one season, maybe outgrown him genuinely a little bit. There
was one opportunity in that game where he got the ball to feet, he span inside the 18-yard box and cracked off a shot. And that's probably the first occasion where I've seen him do anything like that this season, like you would think a striker would do. So I think you're right. I think that's a really good analogy that we probably outgrown him in the system a little bit.
I think so. I mean, if you actually look at all of the, I'd say top 3 teams, not top 3. The other top 2 teams in the league, bar Arsenal, they've all pivoted towards big, kind of tall, agile strikers. They're not big lumps that can't move. But Núñez and Haaland are very athletic, tall strikers. We've started lumping loads of crosses in the box, and I'm just like, why are we doing that? Yeah, a corner, fair enough.
Kai Havertz.
Well, yeah, all right. We had one. That's the only time it's ever worked. Thank God it did. But it feels like we've got the missing piece of the jigsaw, and I reckon that comes sooner than we think. I reckon that's coming in January. Genuinely think that's coming in January.
Tony or Vlahovic?
Tony.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just realised as well we've got the wrong background on. I'm going to stick that background on. There you go. Look at that. Right. I suppose enough about maybe some of the poor performances in today's game. The next segment is called Deck's Appeal. Thank you very much. I do feel this is a good one. Declan Rice, for me, once again, he got man of the match and thoroughly deserved. Absolutely incredible player. Tell me, just give me what was the standout bit for you from Declan Rice's performance in this game?
Well, I want to say a really silly word, but effort. It's just the effort. That for me was, he is. There was one point when I think we got the ball. I think Ramsdale got the ball at the back. He laid it out and he went straight to Deck, who was then just moving through the midfield at pace. And for me, it was just the rest of the team feels fairly placid, and like in a game like that, it's very slow. And I got bored watching it. I think, have I mentioned that already? But for me, Deck always brings effort and energy, and that stood out for me. Just those few things. Those are the things that for me that I was just like, that seems so cliche, but that's what I look for in him at the moment. Like he's just doing things that the rest of the team aren't doing, earning his money, and sometimes making the rest of the squad look bad, actually, a little bit at times.
He's trying to, you see it a lot where he's trying to bring us back into the game with those midfield drives. It is captain-like material. It's at times when Ødegaard feels invisible. It's at times when Declan Rice feels much more of a noticeable standout. And even when he's dropping 6s and 7s out of 10s in what you would deem as relatively low performances by other players, it's like he doesn't ever lose the ball. I don't think I've seen him get dispossessed once yet. I really can't think of it. He definitely didn't in this game. Even when you think he's going to, he's got such physical strength and body shape and legs that he can. That's what I'm saying. Even today's performance, I wouldn't say it was he got man of the match, and it was a good performance. But it's not like it wasn't incredible.
Yeah. So when you asked me that question, all right, what was the standout thing for you? I was like, what did he do? And the only thing I could remember was that element I described, and it was mainly effort.
Did he clear it off the line?
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
think he did one.
no, he did in when Ramsdale's error in the first half.
Yeah, so I mean, he's done that because he did it against. Was that against City? He did that against City as well. We would not have won that game had he have not done that. And for me, that's partly where for me, you don't really expect those type of players to be there. You don't really see Rodri. I mean, in that kind of position, in that kind of predicament. And that's for me he is just such an important player to us. We talked about our spine, and I was actually going to quickly, while we're praising players, I want to praise Gabriel. We talk a lot about Saliba in defense, but Gabriel, he's really intelligent. One of the things I really love that he does, protects the ball so well. When he's under pressure in our final third, and he's got players around him, he has an uncanny knack to draw fouls. Really good at drawing fouls in that area and making it look like a foul when it certainly isn't.
Yeah, I remember
he's really good at that. So I just want to just call out Gabriel. I do feel because Saliba gets all of the plaudits and well deserved, of course, but Gabriel kind of silently is doing good things. Apparently, he did really terribly for Brazil. I don't watch obviously much international football, but that's what I'd heard. But as long as he's doing it for the Arsenal, I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't care. Did you see there's a picture of it was who's the Newcastle centre mid Guimaraes. It was his birthday, and the Brazilian national team brought a cake out, and everyone's really happy, and he's got the cake there, and you should have seen Gabriel's face across the room, and there was a tweet or I don't know, something or a meme. It's Gabriel's still not over the Newcastle game.
I mean, I'm not surprised because he's a dick. Right, enough about Declan Rice and maybe the hatred between Bruno and Gabriel. We're going to go on to Waka, hey, 60 million down the drain.
Kai Havertz scores again.
Well, for the second time. So he does score again. No, he scored 2 now.
He scored 1 goal, though. Yeah.
So I actually got a text at the end of this game saying someone was looking forward to this podcast after all of the Kai Havertz slander that we've dished out over the past 28 plus episodes. Is there anything really? So yes, he scored the goal. I suppose there's that. Is there anything else from Kai Havertz coming off the bench that you felt was good, was bad? Anything else in between?
There's a bit of a tumbleweed going around the back of my office, I think. My notes were he scored, the end, but nice assist for Odegaard. That's what I had. He came off the bench. I think there was a few little bits of energetic sprinting I remember seeing near the corner flags, but nothing that stood out to me that blew away and off the cameo kind of performance. But I'm really happy that he was able to beat his marker at the back post and luckily nutmeg the goalkeeper for the goal, and we'll take that. And if he can keep doing that, then he will eventually prove himself. So exactly what he needed to do for himself, exactly what we wanted him to do. We wouldn't have got the win if it wasn't for him doing that. And now he needs to be consistent and show us that this wasn't a one-off. I think he scored for Germany as well, didn't he? Well,
they were saying on commentary he played left back
and
then left wing back.
Yeah. So
yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say, great. He just needs we need consistency. He needs to just keep turning up now and doing that. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go on. What were you going to say?
No, I would say I agree with you. The one thing that maybe is different here, we've seen enough times that ball go into Kai Havertz at the back post and him not commit. And this one was the first time he's really, I mean, it wasn't even a great touch. Let's be honest. Most of his touches are pretty poor. But I do feel that at least he committed this time. We've seen that flashing ball across the front face of goal towards the back post. And if he had have bothered, is probably the word I would use. If he had tried, he might have got there. At least with this one, he actually put himself in this position where he needed to.
Well, he's very tall, but he doesn't necessarily look overly
Imposing.
imposing, strong. Like he's going to beat. If you're tussling for that ball, you wouldn't always back him to win the header. And today he did. And then I've watched the replay to see he managed to break away from that marker at the back post. It was a bit of a tussle. He won that out. That header could also gone anywhere. Luckily, it went straight to the keeper, but luckily through his legs. So, yeah, I mean, get on the weights. No, I'm joking. That he reminds me a little bit of Giroud, but just maybe not as physical sometimes in the air. But
Giroud can finish. So.
Yeah, and that's the problem, right? He's not. I don't see him as that kind of player. Again, this comes back to the debate we've had on this podcast time and time again. What position is he? What does he do exactly?
It's funny you should mention that, because I did see a conversation crop up between I can't remember who it was, but they were effectively saying part of the reason why he's not that good is because no one knows where to play him, and maybe even himself, he doesn't know where he's best to perform. And you can tell already, like we just said, left back, left wing back. For us, he's played at a 9, as a left wing, as a left 8. He hasn't played left back. He might. He's
played in Odegaard's position as well.
Yes, he has. He's played as the kind of 10. So he's played at least 4 different positions for us, and none of them is only the left 8, and that's because we all assumed he was going to replace Xhaka, that he's probably played in the most. When he came on, I don't really know if that's where he played. I think he did, and I think Tross went out to the left-hand side. But even so, maybe that's part of it. Maybe because no one, and I would have hoped that Arteta can at least coach or understand where his best position might be. And like, it's early doors still, right? This is 13 games into a Premier League season. I know we talked in the last one, 65 million is a lot of money to be spending on a player that you don't know what to do with. But maybe we just give it more time. I've already said a lot before. I'm done. Like, it's good that he's scored. It doesn't paper over the cracks that he's still, I think, for us, a shocking signing.
The problem here is that he's already played in the Premier League, right? So he should have some form of adjustment. If you'd have brought him straight from Bayer Leverkusen, you'd be going, give him time. So I remember when we bought Robert Pires, I don't know how much we spent for him. I'm intrigued to look that up.
I'll look it up while you're talking, Jace.
So when we bought him from Marseille, it took him first season. He wasn't strong enough. He was very Havertz-esque, and the second season he was Player of the Year. And sometimes there are players with that level of talent and creativity. They just take time to embed in a team and a system. That's the one thing that's standing out with me with him, that is making me think, oh, maybe just give him a little bit more time. We've seen some good glimpses. Give him a little bit more time. But the problem is he's played in the Premier League before, and so he is well known to fans and other teams and other pundits, and just the hype and everything around it. He's not going to get any respite. So that's the reason he'll fail at Arsenal. If anything, it'll because of that. And actually, that's quite timely. I think that moves us on to the next subject, right? Which is what is also a media hype train, which is Mr. Ramsdale, who had to play because of Mr. Raya being, I guess, what is it? It's not cup tied, so was it loan?
Yeah, was it?
Loan
tied?
Yeah, something like that. Go on. You can talk about Aaron's performance. I'll let you kick it off.
Where to start? I took a couple of notes during this game. The point. So let's just go through. There was obviously 2 pretty catastrophic moments. There was in the 13th minute, I think he got tied up in himself and got tackled, and we got rescued by a defender on the line. I think that was Deck who managed to.
No, it was Deck. It was Deck on the line, yeah.
Yeah, so it was Declan Rice who got that one. It was a mistake waiting to happen. We've already seen it a couple of times in the first. That was in the 13th minute. There's already a few occasions from there. The second one was a throw that I honestly cannot understand it. It was like overarm throw, but you just kind of threw it at the ground. like an angry
like
child
a-
where you're trying to bounce it as high as you
I
can
was
bounce it,
gonna-
and you're like,
I
look
was
at
going to say
me,
exactly the same thing.
like look at how high I can bounce it. And then, and the real point I want to make on the commentary, they were obviously, and I've had this conversation with you, I've had the conversation with friends, with colleagues, and it's all like you can't have two goalkeepers. You cannot have two goalkeepers because one of them has to be the number one, and you can't have that. In other positions, you can. In the goalkeeping, you can't. Even on pundits and Gary Neville, Carragher, etc., they've all discussed it. I didn't agree with it. I don't necessarily think that's the right thing. Like, I still believe that competition in any position is possible and is the right thing to do because competition should breed better players. Bearing in mind, Aaron Ramsdale, he's a professional footballer. He's a professional individual. If he is scared of somebody else to come and take his job, good. Because somebody will if they're better than him. The point is that he's a professional. He needs to be better. And he completely caved. Every opportunity he's been given, he is absolutely caving to the pressure of this situation. And you cannot blame Mikel Arteta for that. You can only blame Aaron Ramsdale because he's the professional here. He is the goalkeeper who needs to perform at the level he's been asked to perform at, and he's not.
It's hard. I mean, yeah.
I know it's hard, but I do.
No,
I understand that people are going to call out Arteta for creating the situation, which he has. But at Ramsdale last season, this all stemmed from the fact that we probably lost the league because he passed that ball through the middle to Southampton and put us under pressure in the first minute. Actually, the first 20 seconds, whatever it was. And I know that a lot of people have seen the clips since that moment of him. I think it was a Budweiser thing where he basically said, you can't expect me to like concentrate on a game of football for 90 minutes or something like this. It was a clip. And then someone's edited it with him looking at the pigeon. You must have seen there's a game where there's a pigeon on his near post and he keeps on looking at this pigeon and then we conceded a goal because he was obviously distracted. Anyway, all of that thing and the microcosm at the same time is just causing me to kind of go, I like Aaron Ramsdale. I like you. He's a nice bloke. And he did bring an engagement to the fans, some camaraderie to the fans. He'd always turn around and give it to away fans, and he'd always go to the home fans. We like that about him. He's a nice guy. But I think we've seen enough in the 2 times where he's had the opportunity to come into our team and be better than David Raya, and he hasn't. Not even close.
To Brentford want a swap deal.
What would take Flacken?
Well, no,
We'll take Flacken as well.
I think that he's going to have to. The note I made was time to go. Like I everything you said, and I've mentioned it many times. I really like Aaron, and when he is given time and consistency, he is an amazing goalkeeper. He's a number 1 goalkeeper for a Premier League side. Arguably, should be still England's number 1 in my opinion. But he's not going to get in over Raya. Arteta's made his decision. Let's not beat around the bush. He needs to be him for Ramsdale to be good. To get the best out of our Aaron, you have to play him. Simple as that. Else you get a rustiness, a fatigue, mental fatigue in his decision making, and you saw that tonight. And then it was a harsh atmosphere for him, but as you still say, he still caved, and the atmosphere wasn't particularly nice. Because obviously, Raya's still a Brentford player technically. Obviously, I think Brentford fans accepted he was bigger than Brentford in regards to the stature of club he could play for, but they still obviously. He didn't leave in a bad way, so they're still Raya fans, and they gave Ramsdale plenty of stick. But he's paid to take that. He's paid to take it anyway. Like that's why you got. That's why I know he's a human, and no human should have to take abuse. I don't think he was taking abuse, but he was definitely taking a lot of banter, and I guess that's part of the job, unfortunately. So he just needs to get a fresh start now. Like, if he's not going to have a fresh start, unless Raya does, by some reason, goes back to Brentford and we don't sign him, and gives Ramsdale some clear space to come back in and perform, which I don't see happening, then he just needs to go and get a club. Brentford would probably be a very good side for him, mid-table Premier League team. I mean, let's look at the Premier League. Where's he going? Liverpool, City. No, they got first choices. United, maybe. That's quite funny. Could go to United. Tottenham, no, they got a good goalkeeper out of nowhere. Whoever that guy is, wherever he came from, he's pretty good. Martinez at Villa, no. Pope's at Newcastle. So where's he going?
Chelsea. Who's at Brighton?
I don't know, but they won't take Ramsdale. We've probably already got a goal passing from the back goalkeeper. So you're probably looking at Brentford or
even Fulham have Leno.
Yeah. I mean, genuinely, I think you're looking. Literally, I think Brentford is the best place for him to go.
Let's get that swap deal done then.
Yeah, get the swap deal done. Get it done.
I mean, it is mental to think of the drop-off, though, right? If you were to put us in this situation a year ago, we would never be asking these questions at this point of our season last season, where we were and the things he was doing and the things that he had done. But that you look at this game, our players crowded around him at the full-time whistle to give him kudos for the clean sheet. It wasn't because of him that we had a clean sheet in this game at all. Zinchenko and Declan Rice and our defense kept us in this game through no fault of his. Like, he tried to gift them goals on many occasions, and that for me, like, once I can kind of forgive, like, a mistake. Ray has done it. You know, that when you're playing risk and reward football, playing from the back, you're going to expect at some occasion it's going to happen. There was one that happened to them. Eddie Nketiah nearly stole from Flecken at one point towards the end. It happens when you play that style of football. This game, it happened 4 times, I think, with Ramsdale. Unforgivable at this level.
Yeah, he always looks a bit edgy in those situations anyway, and you're always a little bit nervous, and the rival fans are always a little bit on his back in those situations. They know. I think he's got previous. So yeah, it's done. It's done.
Put a fork in him. Right. Well, that kind of wraps up everything. I've got a parking lot. I did have one thing because there was one player that we hadn't talked about that I do just briefly want to mention. We talked about Jesus and we talked about maybe outgrowing him. I don't think I've been as. I know that you said you wasn't emotionally invested in this game. There's a moment where I did get emotionally invested in this game. Eddie Nketiah picked up the ball and we were 3-on-2. Or at least I think it was Saka that maybe picked up the ball and we were 3-on-2, and he put through Eddie. Eddie, not just the wrong call, Jace. It wasn't just. It was like, he took on a shot and it was a good shot and it was saved. He took on the shot and the shot was awful, abysmal. He literally passed it to Flecken, and I was screaming, both externally and internally, because that's the moment where when you bring on a player of his nature, and this is, like I said, we've talked a lot about what Eddie can and cannot do. This is the kind of game where Eddie can do. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, pass that ball. There is an easy goal. And you've just it's that decision making at this level just not going to win us trophies. And I totally agree with you that we need a striker, because that at the moment is the bit that we're not creating. We're not scoring enough goals. That is the problem. And although our GD is like 17, but that's just because we don't concede. And even when we do concede, it's like 1.
Yeah.
There's always 1, as Jason always says.
It's always 1.
Apart from today.
Clean sheet for Ramsdale. So I say Tony. Are you saying Vlahovic? Is that what you're saying?
I'm only saying Vlahovic because there was a lot of noise over the last couple of weeks that that was cropping up again. I know it's probably just agents.
We all know, we know his agent. We don't trust his agent because they led us on before.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. And even that's one thing. If you're going to dump 70 million plus on Ivan Toney, it's just quite a bit.
Prenup.
But it's quite a lot, isn't it? I mean, we dumped that on Kai Havertz, and we're kind of we're celebrating with a ironic song that we flushed that money down the toilet after a second goal against Brentford.
Good song.
It is a good song. I mean, I can't fault it, but I think that it was really funny that the fact that song has gone on for about 9 weeks, and the irony has started to wear off a little bit. It just wasn't. The funny side of it just wasn't kind of there. There was a stench. But yeah, Ivan Toney. I think Ivan Toney's like, what else is there? There's not a lot. We said this a lot of times.
Vlahovic.
When Arsenal were in the market for a striker, we always find a bit slim pickings with options in terms of what would really. We talked incremental gains in the past that could really take us to that next level. Not a lot.
Kylian Mbappe on a free.
Oh yeah, if we want to probably carve off another 500 grand a week on the wage bill somewhere, crack
More
on.
than that, mate. More than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Ivan Toney or Vlahovic, I think that's it. One of them's it's got to be one of them, and it probably got to be January.
Yeah, I think so. We can't go a season without it. I don't see.
I do think that looking at Partey, we probably need a midfielder.
Yeah, we do. We need a midfielder.
And you're not going to get both.
Yeah, I also think we need a Saka replacement. I keep saying it again and again.
Yeah,
and again.
well, that's what I'm saying. So we're probably going to have to keep our powder a little bit dry. I think.
So what is the thing we need most in January? I think it's striker.
The thing is, I do think that all three of those are kind of priority. They're kind of all.
They're not all going to happen.
Yeah, I know, but coming from an office where everything's important, so nothing's important. This is what happens in business. I think we've got those three a priority, and so I think we maybe don't sign anyone, and we keep our powder dry.
No, we've got to sign someone. We've got to sign somebody.
January always does feel to me a very rushed, a very forced moment. You know, we've gone into many a bargain bin in January to get a Yossi Benayoun that I certainly don't want.
Dennis Suarez. Was that his name? Dennis.
Yes,
Suarez?
it was. Yeah, it was. But the lesser known Suarez, or the not known at all Suarez. What happened to him?
God knows. I mean, he went back to Barcelona and never heard of him again.
There you go.
Went somewhere in Spain, probably.
Sociedad. He strikes me as a Sociedad.
No, he's better. Sociedad's better than Dennis Suarez.
Mallorca,
yeah. Mallorca's probably.
Yeah. All right, I'll tell you what then. We probably chatted enough. Anything from you for the parking lot, Jace?
I'm going to Lons. Got a ticket.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my friend that has a season ticket offered me it, so I'm going to.
I have been keeping an eye on it, and there was one on the exchange in the halfway line in the club level, £246 British pounds.
Well spent, mate.
So I was like, you know what? That is not happening. So I'll keep an eye on it, but we are going. When's we playing Wolves? Is that on Saturday?
Whatever the next home game is, I'm pretty sure we got tickets for it.
Yeah, we're going to the Wolves game. Actually, we're going to 2 in December. We got Wolves and we got Brighton.
Brighton, yeah, 15th of December as well. Got 3 games before Christmas. Oh, nice.
Well, you have. I've got 2, but I'll keep an eye out. I am in London on Wednesday for work, so I'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, do it.
All right. If you're on YouTube, remember, like, subscribe, comment, please. We really appreciate it. If you're on Spotify, usual 5-star reviews. Otherwise, I'm going to send Jason around with his big muscles to sort you out. I don't know what that means. Could mean anything. Nothing sexual.
Plate of muscles.
A plate of muscles. I've never had a muscle before. Have you?
No.
There you go.
Never.
Someone give us some muscles.
No. It's out the sea.
Don't want
Leave it in the sea.
Right.
No.
Leave it in the sea. Yeah. All right. Thanks very much. We'll see you again in the week when we play Lons.
Cool. Cheers, guys.
Come on, you